All right, let's unpack this today, because we usually treat network switches as completely invisible utilities, right? Just these boring gray boxes sitting in a closet.
Yeah, they just sit there gathering dust usually.
Exactly. But if you're building a high-end audio and video setup, that box isn't just plumbing anymore. It is really the nervous system of the whole operation.
And I mean, if the nervous system fails, the entire body shuts down, which is why today we are looking at a piece of hardware specifically designed to keep that system alive.
Right, we're doing a deep dive into the Zenty ZT-121,
The 48-port AV over IP PoE Gigabit Switch.
available from HDTV Supply. And our mission today is really to figure out why AV over IP requires this kind of heavy-duty gear. Because you can't just throw heavy video packets onto a standard data switch.
No, that is a massive recipe for disaster. It is literally the difference between sending a text email and streaming uncompressed 4K video.
Because an email can arrive a second late and nobody cares.
Right, but video cannot. Video has to be real time.
And looking at the physical unit itself, the first thing that jumps out isn't even the internal tech. It is just the sheer density of it.
Yeah, 48 ports is a lot of real estate for one switch.
It's massive.
It's designed for scale. So we aren't talking about your typical home office here. Think command centers or large sports bars.
Places with dozens of displays everywhere, or even those luxury homes with video distribution going to every single room. You've got 48 distinct lanes of traffic to manage.
And it handles the power distribution for all those lanes, too. It supports both the 802.3a and 802.3 at PoE standards.
Power over Ethernet, which for an installer has to just solve a huge physical headache, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, imagine you have 48 video receivers. The very last thing you want is 48 individual power wicks.
Just jamming up all your surge protectors in the back.
Exactly. This switch sends the power right down the Ethernet line. It cleans up the server rack significantly.
Okay, so the power part is easy to grasp, but control is the hard part. The source material flags the traffic cop features as the real differentiator here.
Right, specifically the IGMP snooping.
Which is where most standard switches just completely fail in an AV environment.
Because multicast video is incredibly heavy, and without IGMP snooping, a standard switch basically treats that video stream like a broadcast shout.
Meaning it sends the data out to every single port just in case.
Right, it floods the network.
It's like a mailroom clerk who decides to photocopy every single letter that comes in and just puts a copy in everyone's mailbox.
Rather than just delivering it to the one person it's actually addressed to. That is a perfect analogy.
And the result is a flooded mailroom. Or, in this case, a flooded network where nothing else can get through.
But IGMP snooping makes the switch intelligent, so it only delivers that letter to the specific port that actually requested it.
Which keeps the overall bandwidth totally clear.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about reliability. Because the spec sheet mentions something called VR-ring redundancy.
Yes, with a self-healing time of less than 20 milliseconds.
Which is incredibly fast. And that redundancy is critical for live events.
Yeah.
Right? Because if a cable gets cut, the network just reroutes automatically.
Instantly.
But let's actually contextualize that 20 milliseconds for you listening.
Yeah.
If you are watching sports at 60 frames per second, a single frame takes about 16 milliseconds to display.
So if the network heals in under 20 milliseconds.
You're dropping, what, maybe one single frame?
Barely one.
Ah.
It is effectively invisible to the human eye. You wouldn't even see a glitch on the screen.
That really highlights the engineering gap between gear that just works and gear that's truly professional.
And speaking of professional, we have to touch on the security side.
Right. This unit supports 802.1x authentication and port isolation.
But the source also specifically flags it as TAA compliant.
Which is a strict requirement for U.S. government contracts, right?
Yay.
Things like GSA or CDBP purchasing.
Exactly. But, you know, it's not just about filling out the right paperwork for the government. TAA compliance is fundamentally about supply chain security.
It's about trust.
Yes, trust. It ensures the internal components, those critical chipsets, aren't coming from non-compliant countries.
Where there might be a risk of backdoors or compromised hardware.
Right. It acts as a seal of approval on both the build quality and the origin of the device.
And for the IT managers who are actually running this whole show, it also supports SNMP versions 1, 2, and 3, plus a web GUI.
So you have full visibility into exactly what is happening on all 48 of those ports.
You can monitor the traffic without even needing to be physically in the server room.
But hardware specs are really only half the equation here.
Right. If this switches the nervous system, you definitely need to know who the doctor on call is.
And that's where the source really emphasizes the backing from HDTV Supply.
They call themselves a 25-year global home for AV, which is a significant amount of longevity in this particular industry.
It mitigates a lot of risk, especially when you pair it with the 5-year Zenty warranty.
And the lifetime technical support they offer. It really feels like they're selling the uptime, not just the metal box itself.
Exactly. Reliability is the actual product here. The Zenty switch is just the delivery mechanism for that reliability.
So if we synthesize all of this, the ZT-121 is really about the convergence of IT and AV. It is bridging that gap between raw data transfer and highly intelligent video distribution.
It proves that just having fast internet isn't enough anymore. You really need a network that understands the fundamental difference between a basic spreadsheet and a live Super Bowl broadcast.
Absolutely. And here is a provocative thought to leave you with today. As we move toward 8K video and our home bandwidth needs just continue exploding, at what point does consumer-grade gear just completely give up?
That's a great question.
Are we all going to need enterprise-grade traffic cops like this Zenty switch sitting in our own basements sooner than we think? Something for you to mull over?
We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If you need to tame your network traffic, definitely look into the Zenty ZT-121 at HDTV Supply. We will catch you on the next one.